The Spanish border is being overrun by thousands of migrants who are trying to enter Europe after Morocco decided to punish Spain. Shocking footage from the Spain-Morocco border broadcast by Pharaoh TV even shows embattled Spanish soldiers pushing migrants into the sea as they try to storm the border. Half of the estimated 8,000 migrants who tried to break through security were sent back to Morocco, but thousands more have made their way into Europe. A 31-year-old Moroccan woman described to the Associated Press how Moroccan authorities deliberately allowed migrants to surge the border. They let people pass and stand there without speaking, she told the AP. People just pass and pass and pass. Why did Morocco open the floodgates? It was an act of retaliation for Spain offering humanitarian treatment to Brahim Ghali, the leader of a Western Sahara militant group that Morocco fiercely opposes. What makes this even more ludicrous is that Spain's socialist government is still running defense for Morocco by asserting that Spain's treatment of this militant had nothing to do with the surge at the border, and that it wasn't a punishment on behalf of Morocco. But that's not what Morocco says. Morocco's Minister for Human Rights, El Mustafa Ramid, said, quote, "What did Spain expect from Morocco, which sees its neighbour hosting the head of a group that took up arms against the kingdom? Morocco has the right to lean back and stretch its legs," he added, so that Spain knows that underestimating Morocco is costly. So even though people within the Moroccan government are explicitly saying that the reason the border surge is happening is because Spain decided to treat this militant, Spain's socialist government is still denying that that's the case. But the overarching question is obvious. If diversity is such a strength, why is Morocco sending migrants to Spain as a punishment? If cultural enrichment is such a net benefit to Western society, why does Turkey's President Erdogan repeatedly threaten Europe with waves of migrants and refugees if the EU doesn't pay him off? In 2019, Erdogan threatened to send 3.6 million refugees to Europe if the EU didn't end its opposition to Turkey's offensive in Syria. At the height of the corona pandemic, he threatened and attempted to do it again. But the incursion was repelled by brave Greek security forces at the cost of their own churches being trashed and entire olive tree plantations being razed to the ground. Migrant populations have been weaponized by Islamist leaders, and they're routinely used to intimidate and blackmail European countries. And I don't even blame the migrants, most of whom just want to escape shithole countries. But we've now seen numerous cases, the Paris massacre being the most deadly, of terrorists exploiting the refugee wave to carry out atrocities in Europe. Increasing violent crime and sexual assaults are also a consequence of this disastrous process. But the blame firmly lies with the Islamist dictators who have weaponized the migrants and the criminal people smuggling networks who help them to reach Europe. Not to forget the refugees welcome anti-racism leftist movements who pacify the public into supporting the entire racket, as well as our own pathetic governments, the Conservative Party being the prime example, who promise to enforce strong border controls, yet preside over the exact opposite.